Good evening, everyone. System Chalk here with the 146th episode of Book of Hours, playing as the artist, getting out of Numa, and ready to read some more books. So one of the things that I wanted to do was read some of the Forge books that I have. That's going to involve... actually, I can't remember which of the... I remember there was one, I think it was Regret, that I wanted to avoid. So let's just go for the Foresight. That'll be the simplest for me to work with. But yeah, I need to generate a memory to be able to read my deeds, my powers, and the injustices perpetrated against me, which I'm assuming has the lesser-known name of All Bangers All the Time. It's probably one of the books I'd kind of like to read on its own. I'm trying to remember. I think we read the Chandler's Wish last, so let's do Inem Kappa Gingling Puragarki and Crippus. It's the Aviforum Hours book. So that gets me my deeds. Let's read the Orchid Transfigurations at Nona's desk. Actually, can I get by... We can reuse Fet and read that at Natan and Regensburg's desk. Or, well, Natan's desk. I can master this mystery, enough Grail to match Mystery Grail. Okay, and the manner in which the alchemist was spare will sort of take care of that in its own time. I should probably be thinking about what memories I want to generate on my own. Because again, there's no real surprises anymore in terms of the skills. I'm going to skip making money at the Sweet Bones for a bit. Shocking, I know. So I can do some laundry. For a shilling, the Sweet Bones will take care of my laundry. Sweet Bones is taking care of my laundry. Okay. What else do I want to do? I think that's it. Yeah, I think I'm going to just sort of sit on my hands for a little bit while I go through it. I am eventually going to need to pick what I level up, but actually, you know what? That'll be a good thing that I can spend the day for. So, what I kind of want to do right now is see what books I can realistically read. And that's probably going to involve a little bit of work on my part, because I'm not 100% sure on some of the different memories that I can get, but I still think this is worth it. So the Scar in the Sky is a really good example of this. So that requires Fusine. Now I don't think Fusine has any winter. I imagine that Heart and Winter tend not to play well together. But if I've got a Wormwood Dream, which would give me that would give me 6 winter to work with. So we'd be down to 8. And then we could take Quenchings and Quellings, or Inks of Containment. Okay, so we're at 7 there. We don't quite have it in the bag. Well, no, that with Whist we would. So yeah, okay. So definitely Scar in the Sky goes on the line here. Sorry, I should probably be unpaused while we do this. So the focus on Amber now. Deep Man Diet doesn't really help me a whole lot with that. The Hail might be something I can work with. I'm just trying to think. So the reason we leveled up the Edict's Marshal is specifically so I think the Nocturnary would be the best bet. So we'll probably take Trist in this case. But yeah, I just need a memory. But seeing as what I'd probably wind up doing here would be a... What would I do in this case, actually? I think I still need to use 2 memories. Well, something maybe for me to think about later. But yeah, so the focus on amber is an interesting question. So I don't have that much in terms of sky. I think Applebright Euphonies is my best. Yes. So we've got 7 to work with there. I suppose with the Didymos, we'd be able to bump that up a little bit more. So, say we're at 13. 13 of 16. So 14 if we bring in the Faust. So I'm actually 1 short without an ink. But what I'll do is I'll put this on the far end. Okay, Sevenfold Saying of the Seven Coil. This is just a cool book on its own. Now, I don't think our edge is actually that... Or what am I saying? We've got Sickle and Eclipse. So the 9 that we would apply there, that would mean I need to find 7 more. Oh, that's a piece of cake, actually. That's where One Wormwood Dream Away. Yeah, so we've got lots that we can read, I think is pretty clear. Sickle and Eclipse is also my moon source, so I don't actually think... No, moon comes from... No, hang on. I don't think moon is Wormwood Dream. Nyx Abelix. So I'd be at 8. 9. Huh. I need to find 7 more. Not so sure about Nyx. I think I can do it, but I don't have an immediate plan for it. And again, I'm not unpaused. Okay, Nin's Cages. 7 for the heart. That's the highest we can go. Mrs. Keel stands ready to help. You always cheer me up, she says morosely. Now, one thing I can think of would be... Heart is a little more difficult than it seems. So Nin's Cages seems like the sort of thing I should be able to read, but then we take Drums and Dances, so we add the Storm to that. That brings me up to 11, and then I can get to 13 with the core. But I'm short the 3, and I don't see a large source of heart in terms of an instrument. Well, okay, actually that's not entirely true. I think if I used a pale... No, it would have to be a flushed Mommet. So maybe, but not quite there. The Wound Wounds, 18. I'm a little less certain on that one because I don't believe Kilisimi has an edge aspect to it. No. Road to Janus, similarly... Well, we're close. And then a novel method for invocation and contrition. The big question on this one is Rose. Okay, preliminal meter gives me 9. 9, so I'm short 5. I get... Okay, so I'm up to 11 of 14. 13. We can definitely read that. Okay, I'm feeling pretty good about our chances here. So if I feel like I can read the focus of Amber, and then I probably can read... Actually, I'm going to switch things around here. White Jade Tablet gives me... I've got 2 Moth that I can throw in, plus the 10. Okay, so I'm already at 12 of 14. That's guaranteed to work. Uh, 16... I think it's the same argument here, so we would take the 9 that we already have plus 3, so that's 12, 12 of 16, and then we take use the sun's weakness. lots of books available for me. Well, apparently not enough shelf space. I tried. Let's put the Wound Wounds on this shelf. Really doesn't want me to. Voyages of Furnishing of Oriel. I suppose. Well, we'll put that over here. It's occurring to me how much time I'm spending paused on doing this, but I think it's very clear that I have a lot that I can read, so that's going to be how we spend the next little while. And again, that's not a hardship. But I would like a clearer idea of how I'm going to spend the elements of the soul, because the whole day reading is not the only option. Okay, so here's what I think I'm going to do. I'm going to see how the lessons turn out, because the point of getting these particular books was just to, you know, it's just to get something on the shelf, really. And what I think I'm going to do is I'm actually going to start folding in the, like I'm going to rebuild my persistent memories. So, you know, the Earth sign, that's a pretty obvious one. The Old Wound, again, something pretty straightforward for me to pick up. What I'll kind of do is, closer to the end of the day, if I feel like there's something that I can sort of tuck into into something more persistent, I'll put it there, and then whatever isn't available, let's say within the next 2 days, maybe I'll dedicate a part of the day towards restoring it. So I'm thinking of things like a Daidumos or an Ascended Harmony or something like that. But I don't need to go out of my way to, you know, to make sure I have it right away. So, Inam Kepinglingpur, Garki, and Krippus, in which 4 enigmatic figures tell stories they've heard over the years at the Roost, the secret location where the Aviform Hours congregate. Inam, has not the beach crow shared his treasures? Garki, not the rarest. He takes those things most precious, which he claims found, not stolen. The beach crow, Kepinglingpur suggests, is not only a thief, but also a spy and even a voyeur. He has hidden the memory of secret couplings among the hours and their names in the corners of the house as treasures to gloat over. There's particularly fevered speculation on a liaison between the Ringyu, that fervent hour of the wood, and the mare in the tree, who sometimes has been the witch's sister. Okay. So Foresight's a pretty big deal for me, because that's going to unlock the book. Fresh, clean, dry. Alright, let's take my whist and give some help with letters. I could offer help with correspondence and arithmetic. There's no school in Brandkrug, and not everyone here knows their letters. Let's read a book. Metal. Transformations and Liberations. My deeds, my powers, my achievements, and the injustices perpetrated against me. Deep Van Dyck. Foresight. Okay. Forge the Kindled Flame. Can master this mystery, enough forge to match Mystery Forge. So it's also good to know here, if I had only used my shaft, let's say, I could have added the tools. Or if I wound up with like a regret or something. Anyways, doesn't matter. I can master this mystery. Alright, so I mean, I suppose I can also say, you know, do I want to try the manner in which the alchemist was spared? The only problem is I don't think I have much in terms of forge after. So I've got 8. I've got a gap of 16 to address. Yeah, that's not happening. Yeah, I think I'm gonna just cool it on the new books. I'm happy with what we've got so far, and we can work on the rest. We did it! Now I'm happy. Water in the season of Numa is almost the same as water in any other season. Now I've actually already got a couple pictures of miskissed water hanging around, so let's maybe we'll keep some in the librarian's quarters. If there's space. I don't think there is. Already got some in the jail kitchen. Get a normal picture as well. Lower the bucket, creaking into the dark. Alright, a visitor. Is there someone en route to Hush House? Dr. Aaron Peel. The affair of the messenger's casket. In a hidden fold of the mountains above the city of Cluj lies the enigmatic relic they call St. Mihail's coffin. Decades of patient work have finally breached its outer shell. Visitors with an interest in Nock or Moon mysteries will want to talk about this. Dr. Aaron Peel, exile, riddlemonger, thunderskin devotee, I'd rather say confidant, impeccably dressed, but always in dark clothing so the stains don't show. Dark the dressings too, at the ankles and his wrists. I won't take a seat. It's kind of you to offer. It would be unkind of me to accept. So he knows Frisian, Sanskrit, Vac, Latin, Greek, and Aramaic, but what we need is Hyksos. He's got Moon and Moth, so he'd be interested in Moon, I suspect. But we're probably just going to hang out for most of the day, seeing as Mrs. Kill is going to be generating some memories for me, and I'm usually going to want to use those memories to level up certain skills. Okay. There tisn't be no tizzer. Mrs. Kill, as every local gossip knows, came from France to marry Mr. Kill, but there's scant trace of the continent in her accent now. Mrs. Kill has seen more of the world than she usually lets on. Conversations with her yield the occasional surprise. So the plan here is going to be, I'm kind of using Mrs. Kill to just give me a nice bed of memories from which I can do some of the leveling up. I still don't really know what skills I'm going to focus on here, but the aim is just to kind of get a foundation. And the original plan of sort of organizing these books here was to say, okay, so if it feels like something like, let's say, The Road to Janus or The Wound Wounds, so if these wind up being something that's a little too tough for me to read, what I kind of want to do is say, with the skills that I currently have, right, so if I were to put a little bit extra into something like Sickle and Eclipse, would this translate into me being able to read that work? The biggest candidates I thought would be Rose, but it actually turns out we're pretty good at Rose. So, but again, it's at the moment it's really just a question in terms of seeing what's on the shelf, and then I'm sure once I finish reading the books, we'll maybe have some clearer ideas there. There's actually one other text I should keep an eye on, which is the 3 and the 3, the Saint Chiavi manuscript. That one requires quite a bit of Moon. An afternoon spent profitably reading newspapers to the curious, writing affectionate letters for the lonely, steering farmers through the requirements of the Ministry of Agriculture. And we will restore that. Tuppence will buy me a hearty meal and a quiet place where I can rest and gather my thoughts. It is winter and the storms have tightened the seas. I am sitting before the fire and the sweet bones of the beef and potato pasty in one hand and a hot ale posset in the other. And we have the Orchid Transfigurations, A Birth, the second volume of a compilation of quasi-Rosicrucian allegories, supposedly by Robert Flood. This is in the original Latin. Flood, or pseudo-Flood, suggests alignments between the alchemical tradition of Rubidoux and the older Grail traditions through the Pine Knight's quest for the Cinnabar Cup. Seek the cup in the birthing bed, the Pine Knight is told. The midwife at the birthing bed, to his amazement, is the Mountain Mother. In a fit of awe, he both gelds and flays himself. The vigilant storm bursts joyfully from the remains. Alright, satisfaction. This is the impulse shelf, I think, so this is the satisfaction shelf. Alright, so that's 2 resurgences and emergences to work with. So what I can work with here is Grail and Moth. So one temptation would be to level up Desires and Dissolutions, seeing as it was sort of my primary skill originally. That does actually also give me some Moon. You know, I'm actually convincing myself of Desires and Dissolutions here, which is a little inconvenient, but just because I need to do a lot to level it up. But you know what? Let's go for it. It might be fun. Okay, so if I were to go for Resurgences and Emergences like this, or sorry, Desires and Dissolutions, I would need 7. So we would take the Gossip, we can use the Intuition, and we can use the Satisfaction here. So we've got 3 of the 7 required. We need 4 more, and I would use one of my Trysts. Okay, so it looks like I'd basically be throwing all of my Elements of the Soul to do this. But I don't consider that a major hardship. Now, what I'm going to do to make my life a little easier here is there are a couple of things that I can wait for from Mrs. Kill on. Okay. So here's what I'm thinking. Like, if I want to level up Resurgences and Emergences, it's not that hard for me to invest in a couple of memories that I know Mrs. Kill can't generate. So, for instance, we can get Beguiling Melody. Salt will help us. Confounding Parable. That's 3 already, and I'm pretty sure I could do more. So, for instance, I think the Old Wound would also work. And the catch about that is that uses up all my Elements of the Soul, so I wouldn't be able to level up something else. Which, again, I can do, but it's maybe not... It's not quite the whole swing for the fences kind of a day that I think I'm capable of. So I'm going to wait. And I'm not expecting Hokabal de Posen's book to give me anything special. I think it's just going to give me more work. But what might happen is Mrs. Kill may wind up giving me some memories that I decide, okay, well, you know what, leveling up Transformations and Liberations, I'm going to use that, you know, Bells and Braziers, for instance. I could use the Solace and the Hail to level up. And so that'll make some decisions for me in terms of how I want to use my my Elements of the Soul over the course of the day. A little water splashes on the stones of the well to nourish the mosses there. So again, we've got plenty of time left in the day. I'm not too fussed about that. So we'll see what we can get. I may need to make a decision as to whether or not I want to restore my Whist. Because I could potentially use that to... that won't help me with Desires and Dissolutions. I may want to use that to help me in generating memories. But again, we'll see how the day goes. Time, Peace, Recovery. So a little bit like Numa, we were down an element of the soul, but I still think that was a reasonable use of the day. My deeds, my powers, my achievements, and the injustices perpetrated against me. A diatribe by Hokabal de Posend, formerly of the Order of Mortals called the House of Leith, later the Order Lamea, and much later the Oblivious. He has scores to settle. Hookabald boasts of his royal descent and insists that the magics of the forge are more effective when practiced by those of noble blood. Posen complains of his condemnation by the Order Lamea. He acknowledges that he has undergone alterations after the consummation of that particular delight, but insists that these changes are both elegant and inevitable. Who is the fire, and who is the fuel, he asks rhetorically. So 3 transformations and liberations for me to work with. That's Forge and Moth for me. And that becomes Foresight. So as big and cool as that book is, that's just going in the pile of stuff that I can get from many places. All right. So the likelihood of me working with transformation, or sorry, the likelihood of me working with this stuff is pretty low, but let's not rule it out. So again, transformations and liberations, Forge and Moth. The angle that I would normally want to take on this would be, is there a way of arranging things so that I can have a better shot at, at reading one of these books? So I guess Heart is one of the things that I'm short on. Better now. So let's maybe just take a quick minute here. So Drums and Dances is a tough one because if we don't have any Heart or Nectar to work with, which in this case we don't have it for either of these, there's really nowhere for me to go with that. So I can move up Pyroglyphics. That would give me some more Lantern, although I imagine Inks of Revelation is just as easy for that one. And of course, inks are useful in their own way. Door and Wall if I want to keep going down that path. But let's maybe see what Moth opens up, because I imagine that there will be some interesting possibilities. Now, Rites of the Roots is a really interesting one, because I don't think I have a lot of things that give me a bunch of nectar, and technically I haven't needed to worry about that right now. But wouldn't it be nice to be able to say, hey, do you need a high level of nectar? Well, there you go, Rites of the Roots. So to level that up right now, I would need a lot of things I don't have. Okay, so here's what we're going to do. We're going to leave the Foresight aside. I may use it for other things, but we're going to keep talking with Mrs. Kill over the course of the day. Sorry, I'm trying to think how I want to make this work. Okay. Before I go too far down the path, so if I threw a Tristan here, it would want a memory, which I can throw in the shadow. I don't really have anything to bring... Yeah, I'm still too short. Okay. I can still make the old wound, but that's not the most important thing right now. So, I do have a lot of sky I can work with, which is interesting to me. So, if we sit down at the piano, and I say maybe we go Frost, Hail, I don't really think I have enough here, but let's see what I can get. Well, an Ascended Harmony is not nothing. I guess I don't need the... Well, no, if I... Okay, so the thing is, I don't actually need the Faust in this case. But what else am I gonna... What else am I gonna use it for, right? Yeah. Okay. So I've more or less committed to leveling up Desires and Dissolution. So again, we'll see if we can get a little bit more out of Mrs. Kill. We're looking for Grail and Moon in this case here. And essentially I'll just wait until we hear sort of the birds and the bells. And if we don't get it, okay, that's fine. That's not the end of the world. But the hope here is that I might be able to cross this over into generating an old wound, or, you know, getting the earth sign or something like that. And I know I'm at the end of the run time, but let's see if we can maybe finish off the day. Lots of solace. Okay, so that's kind of the sign for me to start thinking about generating the relevant memories. I can give myself a little bit of extra time, so we're going to wait on the we're going to wait another 18 seconds here, and what I'm going to do, if Mrs. Kill doesn't give me what I need, I will generate a beguiling melody, a contradiction, salt. Okay, Revelation doesn't do anything for me there. We'll still talk with Mrs. Kill, but now I need to generate the parts that I need. And actually, at that point, I think we can save that for the next episode. So, again, thank you everybody for watching, and we will see you tomorrow. Sorry, I'm trying to remember exactly what days have been recorded and whatnot, but I think it's Friday's episode tomorrow. So, as long as it's Friday tomorrow or one of the weekdays, we will be back for more Book of Hours for the week. Anyways. Take care. See you in the next one. Bye.